Welcome to The Debate. Today, we're discussing a fascinating product that has really moved from a traditional regional staple to a global FMCG powerhouse. And that is genuine Vietnamese rice paper, or banh trang. Its rise is tied, well, directly to current dietary trends, specifically the intense demand for verified plant-based, gluten-free, and celiac-friendly products. So for serious international importers, the priority isn't just buying it, it's confirming the integrity of the sourcing.
That's absolutely right. The growth in, North American and European markets, it's just explosive. But this rapid expansion creates a fundamental tension for any B2B buyer. And that's the question. What defines import success? Is it the rigorous, detailed verification of authentic, traditional product quality? Or is it mastering the scalable, wholesale commercial logistics, the volume requirements, the efficient risk mitigation? These two priorities are, they're often at war with each other.
And I maintain that the critical factor is authenticity and sourcing integrity, the verifiable markers of genuine Vietnamese craftsmanship. These are the core competitive advantage of this product. I think they're the only guarantee of consumer trust and, long-term brand equity in a crowded health food market. If the quality fails, the logistics just don't matter.
I come at it from a different angle. While quality is the ticket to the dance, sure, commercial viability is entirely dictated by the cost of execution. Logistics determine whether your import venture is profitable or whether your product sits stranded at the port. The successful importer is a master of trade efficiency, not just a purist about ingredients.
Well, let's start with the non-negotiables. The standards for genuine Vietnamese rice paper. It's defined by a very restrictive ingredient list: white rice flour, water, and, crucially, tapioca starch. That starch isn't optional. It's what provides the essential elasticity and that translucent appearance once it's rehydrated. It's a centuries-old, three-ingredient formula. Any deviation just introduces risk.
I agree that the three-ingredient standard is the gold standard for marketing, yes. But let's talk production methods, which really speak to scale. You mentioned the traditional method, sun-drawing the thin batter on woven bamboo racks, which leaves that distinctive crisscross pattern. And while that's beautiful and verifiable, that method is slow. Modern, high-volume industrial facilities and strategic production centers, like those outside Ho Chi Minh City, they often use steam tunnels or specialized drawing racks to guarantee uniformity across, millions of sheets.
But that bamboo imprint is more than an aesthetic marker. It's evidence of a lower, slower drying process that preserves the delicate structure of the rice paper. It affects how it rehydrates. Strict adherence to that traditional formula and methods is what ensures the product performs reliably and maintains its celiac-friendly, gluten-free promise, which is it's absolutely critical for accessing premium retail segments.
And the business of accessing those segments relies on efficient trade. We have to focus on the logistics hubs. HCMC and the Mekong Delta are key, not just for superior rice supply, but for critical advantages like access to Cat-Light Port. But here is the hard reality for the importer. You only get access to competitive wholesale pricing. We're talking that US $1 to $1.50 per kilogram rate by meeting significant container minimums. Often, exceeding 1,000 kilograms for a single direct order. If you can't hit that volume, those per-unit surcharges can easily double your effective cost, completely eroding your margin before the paper even leaves Vietnam. My focus has to be on managing that minimum financial exposure.
I just don't think scaling should ever necessitate compromising ingredient integrity, especially when consumers are paying a premium for a health food product. We have to look closely at ingredient integrity. Premium rice paper must maintain a uniform thickness across every single sheet. Importers have to verify quality by doing simple tests like inspecting for flexibility. The paper must bend without cracking.
And what happens if it cracks?
That's the key. If it cracks easily, it's a sign of low-grade production, or even worse, ingredient substitution. And that leads to my next critical point, the aroma. Authentic rice paper should have a clean, slightly sweet rice scent. If you smell anything chemical or musty or stale, it suggests poor handling, contamination, moisture damage, making the entire shipment unusable. And we know that lower-grade operations often introduce cost-cutting fillers like cornstarch or potato starch.
I am skeptical that a cost difference of a few cents per kilogram justifies sacrificing that volume consistency. But let's talk about the practical implication of that starch substitution, which I agree it happens. When paper is made with corn or potato starch and then you dip it in water, it often becomes excessively sticky, gummy even. It ruins the culinary experience, particularly in a high-volume restaurant setting. This is why standardization is so paramount for commercial food service clients.
Exactly, which proves my point. That compromised texture destroys brand confidence and, well, repeat business.
But we have to acknowledge that industrial facilities in HCMC, which can process several tons a day, they blend traditional knowledge with specialized modern equipment specifically to meet these bulk export requirements. And they do this while simultaneously securing essential international food safety certifications like HACCP and BRC. These certifications aren't just paperwork. They signal to major retailers in North America and Europe that the facility adheres to global best practices, which is frankly non-negotiable for securing large, high-value contracts. If you don't have BRC, you won't even get a meeting with Walmart.
That's true. The infrastructure and the certification are necessary preconditions for trade. I'll give you that. But ingredient integrity is the condition for premium trade. The cost reality is that organic rice paper can command a 20 to 30% premium. Super thin specialty paper, which is very difficult to produce consistently, can reach $250 US per kilogram. That higher margin is only justified because the quality allows the end user, a retailer or a restaurant, to charge more or achieve greater operational efficiency. Quality unlocks profitability, while logistics only determine the price floor.
But all that margin doesn't matter if we can't get the product across the ocean efficiently and, without financial surprises. Let's address the practical challenges of logistics and inventory. Rice paper is an incredibly unique product to ship because it is mostly air. It is extremely lightweight relative to its volume.
Right, the density is low.
Precisely. So when loading a standard container, importers almost always hit volumetric weight limits long before the actual weight restrictions. This means you are paying for space, not weight, which demands meticulous cubic capacity calculation to maximize freight efficiency. You have to ensure the rice paper is packed in flat, tightly shrink-wrapped bundles, utilizing every single cubic inch of the container. Otherwise, your per-unit freight cost just balloons. Furthermore, success means proactively managing trade risks, not just quality risks. We have to address financial volatility by planning around seasonal pricing. We know the rice harvest peaks from October to December, so that's the best time to secure contracts. But if you fail to plan your Q1 order before the Lunar New Year or Tet celebrations, you could easily see your landed cost jump 10 to 15% overnight due to temporary labor and factory closures.
That's a critical scenario that importers must anticipate. But I see why you think that. Though I would frame inventory strategy differently by linking it back to quality differentiation. Innovation in varieties like brown rice, mixed grain, or flavored paper, or even just variations in thickness, allows manufacturers to capture these niche, higher-margin markets. It gives the importer a unique selling proposition.
But how does quality overcome a freight charge?
By driving operational efficiency for the buyer. Consider the super thin variants, like the Asia Deli super thin type. This paper is so fine, it eliminates the traditional pre-dipping step. For high-volume food service operations, where speed and consistency matter above all else, the time savings and reduced labor costs associated with eliminating that step, that justifies paying the significant premium. Authentic, high-quality sourcing allows importers to use that convenience factor as a strategic, margin-driving tool. Logistics might dictate the price floor, but quality determines the ceiling.
We keep returning to the volume constraint, and rightly so, because it is the primary financial inhibitor for newer or smaller importers, that mandatory 1,000-kilogram minimum order quantity barrier. It represents significant sunk capital that ties up inventory for months. It forces market conservatism and these large, risky upfront investments, blocking the very diversification that you're championing.
That is a compelling argument regarding the financial risk, and it leads directly to the logical, practical solution that bridges both our positions. The industry has effectively responded to this challenge through the mixed container service.
Companies like Asia Grocery Wholesale or AGW, they recognize that importers need both verified quality and inventory flexibility.
Precisely. This service is the operational mechanism that bridges authenticity and scalability for the modern global importer. For B2B buyers seeking genuine Vietnamese products, it significantly reduces the required MOQ to a much more manageable 100 to 200 kilograms per SQ. This is a game changer for cash flow management.
And it allows the importer to stock a variety of high-quality items without committing all their capital to a full container of just one product. They can consolidate rice paper, for example, the popular 16 and 22 centimeter round sheets, with other essential ambient stable products like phone noodles, rice vermicelli, or even canned goods into a single container shipment.
And that approach directly reduces financial risk. It allows importers to test market demand across multiple SKUs simultaneously, and it ensures inventory rotation. Plus, by using established logistics partners and consolidation services, the importer still benefits from verified 100% genuine Vietnamese sourcing from established, certified manufacturing hubs. So this allows for the inventory flexibility the advocate values while efficiently managing the prohibitive upfront freight risk that I prioritize.
So ultimately, verifiable markers of authenticity, the stringent 3-ingredient standard, that distinctive bamboo rack imprint, and the clean rice aroma, these are the core competitive advantage for Vietnamese rice paper in the global market. This foundation is what underpins long-term brand trust and allows the product to command a premium, protecting its market positioning against generic alternatives that, crumble or become gummy on contact with water.
And while authenticity is foundational, success in the global market is achieved by mastering the essential trade mechanics. This means securing competitive wholesale pricing through strategic volume planning, efficiently using Ho Chi Minh City's established export infrastructure, and strategically employing consolidation services like the AGW Mixed Container Program to manage inventory risk, optimize cubic capacity, and control those volatile freight costs.
Success in this import category truly requires applying those rigorous sourcing and quality standards within a sophisticated and efficient supply chain framework. The two are really inseparable for sustainable long-term growth.
Indeed. For those seeking to deepen their exploration of this material and begin wholesale inquiries regarding genuine Vietnamese rice paper and other complementary high-rotation products, we encourage you to visit egrocery.asia and contact Asia Grocery Wholesale.